Good morning on this wonderful, wonderful day. I am Jay Hershenson. I'm very pleased to welcome you to this fabulous event, the GED Laurel Award Scholarship Ceremony, and a singular recognition, the awarding of the Chancellor's Medal of the City University of New York to our guest of honor, Peter Jennings. CUNY provides a comprehensive range of literacy-related education to help beginning readers, writers, and English language users achieve greater proficiency and enable more advanced learners to prepare for high school credentialing through the GED exam and college work. This is a program that is funded by the Office of the Mayor and the New York State Education Department. It's been in operation for almost a quarter of a century, serving tens of thousands of students. It currently operates on 13 CUNY campuses, 11 offering GED preparation, and there's a collaborative program with the New York City Department of Education, the Young Adult Learning Academy. Last year, the GED program awarded 444 diplomas. It's also a crucial gateway to get into college. As of fall 2002, more than 2,600 GED recipients enrolled as first-time freshmen across CUNY's campuses, almost 10% of the total number of first-time freshmen, and that really is extraordinary. The GED program at CUNY prepares students not only for success on the exam, but also for the academic demands of college. The courses offer interdisciplinary studies that integrate reading and writing in the areas examined on the GED, language arts, social studies, and science, as well as providing instruction in mathematics. Recently, Bronx Community College alum, Dr. Richard Carmona, went on to become United States Surgeon General. He is just one example of the many successful GED graduates that have come out of this great university system. Now I would like to ask the representatives of the funding agencies for the CUNY Adult Literacy GED program to say a few words. First, let me introduce the supervisor of the Adult Education Program and Policy Development at the New York State Education Department, a great friend, Mr. Robert Perga.
Thank you so much. It's a true personal pleasure to provide congratulations to the GED recipients on behalf of the Education Department and the Board of Regents. New York City, simply put, provides the best literacy and GED instruction in the country. And that's not only my personal conviction, one that I've held since 1984 when we began this partnership, but it's an official finding of the U.S. Department of Education, who visited and actually looked at programs, particularly CUNY programs, here this last fall as part of a state review. They actually saw the tremendous, jaw-breaking, jaw-dropping learning at CUNY sites, and particularly the dedication of the students, and those are official findings. Today we celebrate that simple fact of the wonderful students, the wonderful teaching, the wonderful learning that goes on in New York City and in CUNY campuses. The room is filled with joy for learning, for achievement, of hope, for the future. I want to thank you for being part of that. And congratulations again to the recipients. Thank you.
The New York City Department of Youth and Community Development is a critical and very important supporter of this program. Please welcome the Assistant Commissioner, Mr. Richard Fish.
I'm going to be brief, but I'm going to ask a great deal of all of you. First of all, I ask all of you who are being graduated to become GED ambassadors. And as I look behind you, behind myself, perhaps Mr. Jennings will join us in this. Ask your deans, your program managers, and teachers to allow you to speak to prospective students. Share your experience. And I mean all the facets. Today you'll remember the event, but think back to those days when you said, I can't do this, I'm not going to do this, I can't make it. There are many, many people, just as I'm sure all of you have encountered, who encounter that. And really, let's follow through on this. At orientations, at pre-literacy classes, think about your experience and how you can translate that to support learners who are on the journey that you've completed. Second, I'd like you to ask you to keep in contact with us. We need to share your continuing successes with many who do not really understand the value of the degree you have earned. I look to Dean Mogilescu and Dr. Oppenheim to figure out a way that we can do this, but let us commit to a year from now, all of us joining and sharing how this opportunity has shaped your life. Know what you have accomplished. Today's event marks a major point in your life. I congratulate you and ask that you acknowledge each and all of your colleagues. Thank you very much.
The Chief Executive Officer of the nation's largest and leading public urban university is a nationally prominent statistician. He's the former president of Baruch College and Adelphi University, and he is the first City College and therefore CUNY graduate to lead this great university. To introduce our guest of honor, please welcome the Chancellor of the City University of New York, Dr. Matthew Goldstein.
Thank you. Thank you, Jay, and my congratulations to all of the Laurel Award GED scholars. We're just deeply proud of you, and we're just honored to be in your presence. Peter Jennings, our special honoree this morning, has something in common with all CUNY GED alumni we recognize here today, and it's not winning big at the racetrack, I could assure you. It's perseverance, a determination to succeed, a drive to keep on learning and improving throughout the course of a lifetime. In the course of his extraordinary career, Peter Jennings has transformed himself from a preparatory school dropout to one of the world's most recognized, acclaimed, and distinguished journalists. As the anchor and senior editor of ABC's World News Tonight, he is the network's principal anchor for breaking news, election coverage, special events, and so much more. He is the author with Todd Brewster of the acclaimed New York Times bestseller, The Century, and In Search of America. He has anchored companion series for these books and the ABC series for the History Channel, America's Time. Peter Jennings has been honored with many awards for news reporting, and let me just name a few. In the only 5 years that the Washington Journalism Award gave an award for the country's best anchor, Jennings was named each time. He won Harvard University's Goldsmith Career Award for excellence in journalism and the coveted Radio and Television News Director's Paul White Award. In 2001, he was awarded the Sol Tashoff Award for excellence in broadcast from the National Press Foundation. He has won 14 national Emmys, several Alfred I. DuPont Columbia University Awards, several Overseas Press Club Awards, and a George Foster Peabody Award. To that lengthy list, I am deeply honored as the Chancellor of this university to add to that long list by conferring the highest honor that I as Chancellor can give to any individual, the Chancellor's Medal. Mr. Jennings, will you join me? You want it around you?
Thank you very much.
I'm tempted to say that the foregoing was a paid political announcement. But the truth of the matter is, and I need not be reminded more than once that to receive the Chancellor's Award at CUNY is to, in some respects, eclipse all of the others which have gone before and were, to be perfectly honest, sometimes in exchange, I've always been convinced, for just showing up. I know how rarely this has been awarded. I won't say more lest I lose it, but I'm very, very touched to come. But I've come for a specific reason, to talk to 10 of you. So if the rest of you will just indulge us for a little while. I'm here to remind you 10 what you already know. You're extraordinary, and you have survived the trials and tribulations of your own individual histories, and in some cases your country's histories, in order to succeed at a new level and become an even more indispensable part, I think, than you may even know at the moment, of the American experiment. I don't think you know, and there's no reason you should know, why you inspire me personally so much. This is the second time in my late adult life that I have been reminded of my inadequacies. I was asked some years ago to give the graduation speech at my daughter's high school. And halfway through the speech, at which I had worked very hard, I suddenly stopped. I looked out at my daughter. Even the memory is quite emotional. And I realized that she, and subsequently my son, in graduating from high school, had gone farther in school than I had. And here I am today to realize that you, with your not quite so newly minted GEDs, given that you've gone on to college in so many cases, but you have accomplished more than I have. And so I come today, as much as anything, slightly envious, and God knows admiring. Tuan Dalil from Sri Lanka. You escaped terrorism. You came to America. You followed in your daughter's footsteps to get your GED and go to college in Staten Island. And you came this morning with your daughter, who will now go on to be a doctor. You have become, and are still in the process of becoming, as you all are, an integral part of the American experiment. Ruth Rivera, you finally passed math. You have our deepest identification. And you're now in media technology. You must come and see us when you finish Bronx Community College. Sometimes they tell you you look too happy. It is not possible. Yesterday, the Census Bureau told us that the largest minority community in the country was now Latino. And they had, in the last census, become larger than the African American community. And you will now be part of a community of which we will all wish to become even more deeply aware than we are already, because it is very hard to avoid the Latino influence. Helen Grenade, you cannot get enough of education. Me too, as the Chancellor said. You said, I think, in your essay for the GED that you were the harbinger of a new age. Certainly in the fashion world, without question, you are a harbinger of a new appearance. And your GED, I know, has made you a different person. You know, ABC News was my educator. They sent me all over the world. And you who come from Grenada understand that most of us in America only understand that we invaded your country and not much more. So you take on the added responsibility of helping to explain to us, those people you encounter in your career, what Grenada is, not merely a place that we invaded. And you said something that's so important for all of us to never forget, that your sanity is so much more important than money. Anna Jagrup. It was hard in Trinidad when your mother came here to find work and you and your dad stayed back and you became the head of the household and you were only 14. And you prevailed, and one day you will have your degree in business administration. Trinidad, too, another nation we don't know enough about that's seen so much turmoil. You can teach us more. Shadia Abdurazik from Jordan, or your parents really from Jordan. Shadia was born here, and Jordan's in the news all the time now, a country which America looks on with favor at the moment, but is caught between, as we sometimes say in jest in the newsroom, between Iraq and a hard place. The hard place being Israel and the conflict between the Israelis and the Palestinians. And you have seen since 9/11 how little we understand about the Arab world and how general we are about Arabs when we should be much more particular. You too were burdened, but your uncle inspired you, and you will inspire others. Like everybody in this crowd, you will make a contribution to the American idea. Like you, as the Chancellor suggested very briefly, I come from somewhere else. And so I know after all these years here that America is an idea and an experiment in ideas. They say that to be German is to be a fact, but to be an American is to be an ideal. I want to give you only one thought from not an historian today, but from a poet, a man named Robert Pinsky, who was at one time the poet laureate of the United States. And he said the peculiar claim to greatness is that America has done without many of the elements that might be thought of as the marks of a great people, including the myth of origin. This is particularly true from people who come from somewhere else. Because Americans were not suckled by any wolf, sired by any Trojan fleeing Troy. We're not descended from the sun or from the dragon's teeth sown in the earth. The greatness in America consists precisely in the fact that we are all making it up as we go along. We are all perpetually defining ourselves and redefining ourselves as a people. And your experiment with the GED and your now advance to college is all part of the redefinition of yourselves as participants in this extraordinary experiment. Donald Miller, you beat homelessness, and you know how hard it was to beat addiction. Now you know that nothing is impossible. Boubacar Diallo, from Guinea. Je ne parle pas très bien le Fulani, votre langue naturelle, mais en français and in English, vous êtes formidable. You are fantastic. Don't lose your French. Don't lose your French. I had terrible high school French. But once in the middle of a crisis on the air, I was trying to get someone on the telephone overseas, and the operator didn't speak English. And there I was on the air in my desperately bad French, saying, Madame, s'il vous plaît, j'ai besoin, I need. And that's all I knew, but it was enough to convince the entire nation that I was bilingual for about 30 minutes. Your language and your culture will make us be a more interesting country. Vivian Ado, as they say in Ghana, this is the high life. In Ghana, the high life is a great and wonderful party. But this is the high life for you right now, and what a nurse you will make. I know about your inspiration too. And think of how badly we need nurses in the country. Drive a hard bargain. That's also very American. And Leon Miri, you grew up on a farm. Thomas Jefferson and the other founding fathers of this great country were very close to the land, Jefferson particularly. Don't lose your touch with the land. I know you had trouble with grammar, but don't lose your touch with the land, because Jefferson understood, and you understand, that if we mistreat our environment and the land, then we undermine something which makes the country so peculiarly unique. And look out, world, here comes Craig Lee from Brooklyn. I think more than anything else, I was touched by the fact that your GED had given you confidence. and you now know something you didn't know when you went in, that you have great choices. And that is, I think, great news. And I hope you, in fact, I hope you will all of you encourage others, as I sense very deeply today you have been encouraged by your teachers. You are now so much better prepared to go off in search of America. I am really glad that somebody had the idea today that you have a copy of the book that Todd Brewster and I just finished, because it was the most exciting experience for us to go off in search of America. And to see today that the ideas of the Founding Fathers, these 18th century white men, are so alive and well in the country today. And that liberty means something, and freedom means something, and democracy means something, only if you make it work. So you have indelibly today taken a huge and magnificent step forward, and I am so glad I was here to share it with you. Thank you.
I would like to acknowledge 3 alumni of the CUNY GED program who have distinguished themselves with exemplary academic success, and we celebrate our alums. I ask each of you to stand and be recognized. Ms. Nancy Getz, is she here? Nancy received her GED from the College of Staten Island. You were too old to go to college, but graduated summa cum laude from the College of Staten Island with a 3.95 GPA. Nancy is now teaching the same GED class that she once took as a student. Thank you, Nancy. Thank you for being here. Another alum, Mr. Victor Flores. Victor, welcome. Victor is a GED grad from the great City College of New York. Came to New York City from Mexico at the age of 16, earned an associate's degree at the New York City College of Technology, then came back to CCNY, where, Victor, you earned your degree in electrical engineering, magna cum laude with departmental honors. Welcome. The alums, of course, have paved the way for today's student scholarship winners. I'd like to ask to come back to the microphone Chancellor Goldstein and University Dean of Academic Affairs, John Mogilescu, to come forward to introduce the winners of this year's scholarship award. And I would like to ask our guest of honor, Mr. Peter Jennings, to join them.
Thank you very much. I, too, am delighted to be here today to assist in awarding the Laurel scholarships to an absolutely wonderful group of students. Peter Jennings gave a little bit of information on all of the students. I'm going to give a little bit more. When Shadia entered the GED program at Brooklyn College, she was only 17 and wished that she hadn't dropped out of school. On the surface, she looked like a young person who had nothing better to do than to catch up on her education. But in fact, she was married, had to care for her parents, and work full-time. She had a great deal on her plate. She dedicated herself to her studies, locking herself in the bathroom at times to have a little privacy to do her work. Always worried that there was never enough hours in the day, she managed to get her GED and has been accepted at Bronx Community College, where she hopes to learn to be an X-ray technician. Congratulations. A native of Ghana, Vivian Ado's heart's desire has always been to take care of people who needed help. It was a natural then that she decided to become a nurse. She entered the GED program at Lehman College, where her hard work, intelligence, and maturity contributed greatly to her success. She passed the GED exam on her first try and gained admission to the Lehman College Adult Degree Program, where she is studying toward her nursing degree. A native Sri Lanka, Tuan Falil was a good student and was offered a college scholarship, which he felt he couldn't accept because he felt the need to contribute to his family's income. His greatest wish was to become a doctor. When he narrowly escaped a terrorist attack in his homeland, he knew he had to get his family out of the country to safety and quickly. Years of serious illness and medical bills derailed his lifelong dream of continuing his education until he returned to study for his GED diploma, which he achieved at the College of Staten Island. He will enter the college this fall as a freshman student and plans to enter the medical field. Congratulations. Helen Grenade had been working in a job in which her own progress and development lay dormant and, in her own words, frozen in her heart. She always had a fantasy of a job that she would just love to go to each day, but she was not qualified for such a job. Not wanting to let her dream die, she entered Ostos Community College to prepare for her GED. She found the coursework challenging and worried that passing the test was hopeless, but it wasn't. She got her GED and is now applying the same intense eagerness to her studies as a college student at Hostos. She is studying public administration and has maintained a perfect GPA of 4.0. Growing up in Trinidad, Anna Dragroup felt that she strayed from achieving the most significant goal in her life, completing school. At the age of 14, the full responsibility of taking care of the household and her siblings was thrust upon her, and her classwork suffered. 10 years later, having come to New York, she entered the York College Adult Learning Center, where she earned her GED and impressed her teachers as a student who has what it takes to be successful in college. She just completed her first semester as a matriculated college student at York, studying business administration with a 3.6 grade average. Clearly, her teachers were right. Congratulations. When Craig Lee entered the GED program at York College, he was ready to make up for the time he lost in high school. Although his family highly values education, he never really liked school and didn't do well. At the GED program, however, he brought a sense of urgency to his studies, and everyone knew that he was going to college. He got his GED diploma and will begin studies at the bachelor's level at York College this fall. Not sure what he will major in, he would like us to know that in 4, maybe 5 years, he will be finished. So look out, world. Here comes Craig Lee, a young man who had the courage to turn his life around. When Donald Miller's GED teacher at York College first met him, he seemed like many other middle-aged students returning for their high school equivalency diploma. But his story is somewhat different. Donald had been homeless, addicted to drugs, and panhandled for a living in the subways. Through an MTA outreach program, he put his life on another track. He enrolled in the GED program, passed the test with a very high score, and was just accepted to York College as a degree student where he intends to study computer programming. Congratulations. Leon Myrie arrived in the United States from Jamaica without much formal education. He started at the LaGuardia Community College Adult Learning Center in classes designed to improve his reading and writing, and little by little worked his way up to a GED class. This is no small achievement. Through his studies, he learned to love reading and writing, frequently asking his teacher for extra books for pleasure as well as practice. He worked hard on his studies, and he passed the exam, all the while holding on to several jobs and maintaining his sister in college. He is currently a student at LaGuardia Community College and wants to become a physical therapist. Congratulations. It gives me great pleasure to introduce the final 2 Laurel Award scholarship winners who've actually been selected to represent all of the winners, and after I read their bios, they will talk briefly. So I will start with Ruth Rivera. Ruth Rivera, a GED graduate from Bronx Community College, dropped out of high school in the 10th grade due to family circumstances, and held 2 jobs to support herself. She worked in the Bronx community cafeteria for 2 years prior to enrolling in the adult literacy program at the college, dreaming of the day she would have her GED and actually be able to enroll in classes at the college. She started in a pre-GED class, but soon made enough progress to be promoted to the GED level. On her first 2 tries at the exam, she passed all of the sections, but math. Heartbroken but determined, she doubled and tripled her efforts in class and spent hour upon hour in the learning lab, and it finally paid off. She got her GED, entered Bronx Community College, where she completed her first year majoring in media technology. After she finishes her associate degree, she plans to continue on for her bachelor's degree. Congratulations.
You do this first? Do this first. And we'll hold these for you. And you go and talk. You want your papers?
Today I am a college student, but it didn't come easy. It took a lot of hard work and dedication. I struggled and became frustrated many times, but knowing that dreams don't happen overnight, I continued. Attaining the GED requires time, practice, hard work, and staying focused. Many had to manage all the responsibilities of an adult learner, like working full-time while attending classes. Some of my classmates even had young children to whom they had to dedicate their time and energy. Many students use this opportunity to set an example for their kids. Although every student has a different story, all the students have the same goal: to obtain the GED and inch on to further success. I was a teenager confronted with real life, lacking the education and experience to earn a decent living. Realizing this, I resolved to do something about it. It is important to stay dedicated. I remember the first time I took the GED exam. I was crushed when I received a letter stating that I did not pass the exam. I cried, wiped my tears, and continued in the program. I'm a very sensitive person, but I knew it was necessary to stay focused and no time to get emotional. I spent many hours in the learning lab receiving assistance from the tutors. Sometimes students give up when they fail the first time because, like myself, they believe that they have done their best, but unfortunately, their best is still not good enough. So they give up and never earn their GED. We, my fellow graduates, did not take that route. I finally passed the 3rd time around. Now that we have obtained our GEDs, what does this mean? It means that we, like many students before us, have the key to continue our education. It means that we have opened doors for ourselves. Some odds were against us, others are still before us. Nevertheless, we are on track to receiving our associates, bachelor's, master's, and even doctorate degrees. It means that CUNY colleges such as Bronx Community College are successful in reaching and teaching adult GED level students. It means that many students like us who went the GED route will dramatically increase our earnings, rise above poverty level, and successful competitors in the 21st century workforce. My essay was titled, "I Believe That Anything is Possible." It should have been titled, "I Believe That Anything is Possible with Practice, Hard Work, and Dedication." Congratulations to you and all. Thank you so much.
And our last winner is Boubacar Diallo. Join us in. A native of Guinea and a recent immigrant to the United States, Boubacar's GED teachers say that he was always at the top of the class, a position he used to encourage and help his fellow students. Even after he got his GED diploma, he continued to support his fellow GED students by coming back to see them and telling them what they can expect when they too start college. You have to read as much as possible to be prepared for the college workload is the advice that he gives them. As a student at LaGuardia Community College, Boubacar also continues to come back to visit his former teachers, but never without a question about American culture or geography. Currently on the college dean's list with a major in computer science, he plans to transfer to a four-year college to prepare to become a systems analyst.
Thank you. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, fellow student, honorable friend, distinguished guests, good morning. It is a great honor and pleasure for me to be here at the GED Laurel Award ceremony. 2 years ago, I could not have imagined myself standing on this podium addressing an audience such as this. I came to the United States in November 2000 from Guinea, and 2 months later, I enrolled in the GED program at LaGuardia. My goals were immense, difficult, but not impossible. As an immigrant who could only speak French and Fulani, I set studying English as my first priority, as many of yourself. My aspiration was to speak, understand, and write the language fluently. My second priority, as with my student colleague present here today, was to pass the GED test and move on to college. Overcoming the many challenges inherent in returning to school was difficult for me, especially during my first semester. These challenges included, along with my language issue, overcoming my fear of the test and effectively managing my time between work and school. First, I shaped my school and reserved a 2-hour period of study. Then I always did my homework on time and additionally do some extra exercises from the GED book. Whenever I encountered a difficult exercise, I always felt free to ask my professors or my fellow students. Indeed, my teachers played an important role in my education. They have helped make me who I am today, and I'm proud of them. Please allow me to send my gratitude and respect to all my teachers, and on behalf of my fellow award recipients here, the teachers too, for their great help. I want to thank Chancellor Goldstein for this ceremony, which acknowledges the accomplishment of adult education students. I also want to thank Peter Jennings for being here. I know he's busy. I'm very excited to see one of my favorite journalists. We are grateful that Mr. Jennings has taken this time from his busy schedule to recognize our achievement. Thank you. Okay. I also want to congratulate my fellow students and friends here on this podium for their accomplishments so far on the road to success. I will also seize this opportunity to thank my family and my sister, who has always been there for me and who is also an adult learner. Our journey of education has just begun, and it will not stop here. As Albert Einstein said, the important thing is not to stop questioning. Curiosity has its own reason for existing. Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Let's congratulate all of the winners of this year's GED scholarships.